All right. First episode of We Three Kings. This has been in the works for a while now. I've been thinking about this since probably the beginning of the summer, and it feels wild that we're actually finally recording the the first episode. Uh, so yeah, roll the intro. I really don't know what else to say. We three kings of podcasting are sharing stories. We'll talk on and on. We will chat till your ear falls off, and when our guest is gone. Well, there we go. It's official. We've got a whole intro and everything professionally made. Just kidding. I did that. It's it's not professionally made. Hello, everyone listening. If you don't already know, I'm assuming most of you do. I'm Ashes, but I have a buddy along with me who you might not know.
And I'm Cam.
Yeah, that's Cam. I'm friends with Cam, mainly through church. We met at church. Pog. Church is poggers. I really must say, church is very poggers. And, yeah, if somehow you found this podcast not through me, which a lot of the traffic is probably coming through my YouTube and Twitch Discord group and all that at the moment, I've got a YouTube channel and all that. I'll link stuff in the description. Do you really have stuff you want to shout out for yourself, Cam?
Nah, I don't really got anything.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Also, listeners, we also have in the description an invite to a Discord channel for the podcast itself. So if you want to become more of an in-depth member of the community, go ahead and do that. We're doing all sorts of stuff there, all sorts of fun stuff. Mostly at the moment just chatting, but we might set something up in the near future. Stuff for members to do, so that'll be fun. So now let's get into it. If you haven't seen, well, not seen, it's a podcast. If you haven't listened to the trailer, basically the premise of this is that we're just telling a story, and bantering along for the story. Every week, except for this week, which is the pilot, we'll bring in a guest speaker to share their story. This week, we're sharing a story of a time we went to camp together. It's a pretty funny story, actually. I really like it. I've told it to a lot of people, and it's still good every time. But after this week, we'll bring in a guest speaker every week who will be the third king of the podcast, making it the Three Kings. And other than that, the title is also in a reference to the song We Three Kings of Orient, or whatever, because we are Christians. And that's really a vital role of who we are. And that's also why we're going to be doing a little prayer segment at the beginning of each episode. That was a pretty good segue, I must say. Segue master. And then I ruined it by saying it's a segue. Alright. Oh my gosh, my dog is barking. Guys, professional podcasters here.
We've been doing this for about, 20 years now, right?
Try 20 minutes, but close enough. Not even 20 minutes. How long has this been recorded? Like 4 minutes. Alright, let's go ahead and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the opportunity to make a podcast. I'm really excited about this, and giving us the resources to be able to do it, and the people to listen to it, because they're amazing. And please bless the podcast. I really don't have anything to say for it at the moment because it's so new. But please help us reach more people for you through the podcast. Amen.
Amen.
Nice and short. All right. So, how was your day?
It was very productive.
Very productive. We're recording the day after. I don't know about you, but it's the day after Thanksgiving break for me. It's the first day I went back to school since the Thanksgiving break. Oh, boy.
It's like second day for me.
Yeah, I figured yesterday was like a teacher thing. I don't know. Schools are funny. But it was a wild ride of a day getting back, and I don't like math, let's just say that. And very luckily, our story today has nothing to do with school because it's let's go. It's based during the summer camp. Cam and I, not camp. That's not very funny. I don't know why I bothered to point that out. Our student church every year will do, well, how long has it been going on? Like 5 years, maybe?
Oh, it's been longer than that. I think they started in 2015, 14. I want to say
15 sounds right. I think
15. Yeah.
I know I didn't go until 3 years ago. I've gone to 3 years of it.
Think of him as 4. So.
All right. Camp veteran here. Camp veteran.
Let's go.
But this was, I believe, 2 years ago. Not last year's camp. 2 years. So it was the second year I have been going to camp, and it was Cam's third. All right, let's set the scene a little bit. So it's a fairly small camp that our church rents out for the student church to go to, basically. And there are 2 boys' cabins, 2 girls' cabins, and then there's an overflow cabin. That's going to be important later. Also, Cam was in that cabin because he's a rascal.
Best cabin out there.
How many people are even in there? Like 4?
I think there's 5 to 6 kids in each room, and then an adult. So like almost 15-ish people.
Also, when we say room, the overflow cabin had like a few small rooms, but all the other cabins, it was just one room with a bunch of bunk beds against the wall. This wasn't like a very high-end camp. It's not a high-end camp. I honestly love the place, though. There's some good memories there.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's great camp.
It's pretty beautiful, though.
And the size is just about right at the moment, but there's starting to be more and more kids coming to it each year, which might face a problem in the future. I'm not sure. I'm not the one that makes calls on that. Hey, Editing Ashes here. I actually learned very recently that the camp we're talking about in the video, my church is no longer going to for their student camps. They recently actually just bought a camp in Iowa, which is really cool. It's not that far away. It's not that far from the Iowa-Minnesota border, but that's really exciting. It's a lot better than this older camp that we were going to. But we did not know this at the time of the recording, so we're going to be still talking about this camp like we're going to be going there in the future. I'm going to miss that camp. There's some good memories there, but I'm excited for the new one in the upcoming summer. All right, back to the podcast. Thanks. But basically... Alright, so there's, 3 days of camp? I think we come in one day, and then there's
3.5.
two full days, I think? Or they're 3 full days?
So there's 3 in total if you cut, because we leave midway through the day and start our journey midway through the day.
Yeah, okay, so we arrive about halfway through the day at camp, then there's 2 full days, and then we leave about noon-ish. It's kind of rough. uh,
It is.
on the final day. And so this story takes place, like, it begins, what, the first full day, I believe? Maybe near the end of it?
I th- no, I think it was the. I think we found Swampy
Oh, we'll get into that in a
at
sec.
at the end of the first day, then morning of the second day.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Thing.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that led to what happened on the end of the second night. Okay, we've got our story straight,
Yep.
guys. We're trying not to script this, so it's a very natural conversation. So that means we have to work a few things out in our heads, too. So,
Scary thoughts.
this is basically how it went down. The camp was going along like normal. Great fun. It was coming to the end of the first day, kind of. And I was hanging out near the overflow cabin. I think I heard about it after. But here's what happened. They caught a mouse. I'm just going to throw it out there. They caught a mouse in the overflow cabin. I've never heard of mice being around the camp except for this one time. But people will always remember there being a mouse around the camp because this mouse was a great deal. We ended up naming him Swampy because the camp's kind of in a swamp. So we named him Swampy. And so if we say Swampy, we're just referring to the mouse. And so pretty much, were you there when they caught the mouse?
I was in our room just chilling with the other cabin mates, and they kind of like were whispering, and they're saying, "Come over here," and I saw it, and I was like, "Yo, that's actually really cool," and I pet it. I think, yeah, I touched it a couple times. Shockingly soft, but you know, it was a wild rat or mouse, so.
Let's get hashtag rabies cam trending on Twitter.
I wash my hands afterwards.
Now, what he did was he pet the mouse, and then one of the hands that he pet the mouse with, he started to dig around in his mouth, because he like felt something back of his mouth, and the other one he rubbed both of his eyes with, and then stuck his pinky up his nose. So it was all very sanitary. But pretty much, from what I know that happened, the counselor in that cabin, when he heard about what was happening, he got like a bucket from the kitchen, I believe. Was it a bucket or a shoebox? I think he caught it with a bucket.
No, we actually used our trash can in there. We put them in there.
Oh, okay. That's why I remember it being a bucket. It makes sense. All right. So I remember that happening, and then you guys come out, and I just hear, "There's a mouse, there's a mouse," and you guys caught the mouse, and I was just kind of hanging out, and I came over, I see the mouse, that's pretty neat. What the heck are you gonna do with it? Honestly, the smart decision might have been to go down like that path into the woods a little bit and let it out in the woods. Even though it probably would have gotten eaten there. But again,
Probably.
if that didn't happen, it wouldn't have turned into such a camp legend.
Oh,
It's just a legend in camp. Anyone who's gone to camp, like even the last year, they probably know about it.
probably.
So I really didn't see it much at all that day, but it comes into play for me a little bit later in the story. What did you guys do to it that night? Like, what did you keep it in?
Okay. We kept it in the trash can, and then we gave it some food, so it would die.
Hopefully.
And our original plan with it was to prank the girls' cabin that night by setting them a little free in there, because a lot of times girls are scared of mice.
That's harsher than I thought it was originally.
Yeah, I think we set it in, but one of the girls' counselor heard of it or something, and we got stopped. So that sucked.
You were gonna, but it didn't happen.
I think we had it and we were about to release it, but then, yeah, we got caught, so it didn't work 100%.
That's honestly crazy.
which really sucks.
It probably would have also not gone the best if it had happened. You,
That's true.
Was the counselor in on it?
Ours was, and then the girls one, I don't know what went through
I
her
wouldn't
mind,
believe
but
that.
no.
From now on, we're going to call the counselor of the overflow cabin Surfer Jesus.
Oh.
Because that's what everyone called him.
Or Aquaman.
Or Aquaman. He's seriously... He looks like a combination of Aquaman and like the classic like Catholic paintings you see of Jesus with like the longish wavy hair. He like dead on. He looks just like that. So a lot of people call him Surfer Jesus or Aquaman. So pretty much from what I know, so you guys kept it in your cabin that night, right?
Correct.
Like in the bucket, yeah. And then when you woke up in the morning, I heard about this the next morning. I was in one of the normal boys' cabin with some of the younger kids. It was dead.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Swampy. Poor Swampy. Enslaved by a bunch of degenerates. PETA, don't get mad. You've more things to worry about. For example, Thanksgiving just happened. Keep fretting about that for no absolute reason.
True.
So, from what happened there, this was the second day of camp. And I think they actually stopped this tradition because some people took it way out of hand. But the final day of camp, traditionally, was prank night.
Let's go.
Yep, and I think this was the last year that they did prank night. They kind of put an end to prank night last year. I think something still happened, but I heard that something happened, but it really wasn't big. I don't even really know what happened.
It was just one of my friends brought like the different changing smoke colors and stuff.
Mm.
And then we through that, and it wasn't really a prank, it's more of cool, but like something, like that. So unfortunately wasn't.
Yeah, I knew that nothing really happened, kind of because they put an end to it, but it might have been a good thing because things just slowly kept escalating. I do know that Go ahead.
I think it was 2 years ago, 2 or 3, where the girls pranked the high school boys by putting
the canoes,
the canoes and like benches in their cabin and in front of it, and that was honestly hilarious.
Yeah, they all got up before them, right? And like a shove.
Yep.
I think they shoved like 2 canoes halfway through the door.
Yep.
Dang. I think. Okay. 2 years, it might have been 2 years, I might be wrong about this, but a few years before I went, people really like using saran wrap with their pranks.
Yes!
I have 2 saran wrap stories, one longer than the other, and the longer one better. I'm going to start with the shorter one to kind of show kind of what some people might do with the saran wrap. So, this is all word of mouth. I wasn't around to experience this because it was before my time. But someone got into their car. I think they were sleeping the night in their car, and then a group of maybe high school boys like saran wrapped.
I was there.
You were okay, so that was a year before me. They saran wrapped all the way around the car, right?
Yep.
And you wouldn't expect it, listeners. You wouldn't expect it, but saran wrap is strong when it's holding something closed. That's what it's for. And so I think someone had to come and like help them open the door. They couldn't get out. I think they like called someone. But now that just sets up how devastating the power of saran wrap can be for this next saran wrap tale. You probably know what I'm about, the story I'm about to say.
Mm-hmm.
You might. I think it was a year or two before the car saran wrap thing. So it was actually probably bigger scale, but the I forget what we call it, leader's cabin, director's cabin, something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's a small one room thing with I think a bunk bed, maybe two. I think I saw him there once. I don't know. But it's a little bit away from other parts of the camp. And so, in turn, people don't really see it that often, and it doesn't come to people's attention. Meaning that what was about to happen no one really saw and could help. So, our not counselor leader. I don't really know what to call him. The camp leader. I'm just gonna say his name. His name's Braden.
One of the leaders.
He may or may not guessed at some point soon. Just saying, little spoilers here. But great guy. He's really funny. I got this story from him. So it was just a normal night. He went I think it was the end of a first day of camp, and he went in his cabin, went to sleep, all that, I think. I might get some details wrong. I'm sure he'll correct me, because he'll probably listen to this. I already told him about this, that I was going to do this like a month or two ago. Probably longer. So, hi Braden, if you're listening. I'm being careful not to dox the camp or anything. But, and forgive me if I get some details of this wrong. If I do, you can correct me when you guessed. Please guessed. Do it. So, what happened was, the next morning, he woke up, did the morning stuff in the cabin. There's really not much to do after you wake up. You just, put on your clothes and then head out, because the cabins, it's just a room with a bed, basically. That's the cabins. And then he tried to open the door, twist the handle, and tried pushing, but he can't quite push it open. It's like there's something sitting on the other side he can't push out. It must have taken a metric crap ton of saran wrap to do this. I'm telling ya. Jeez. Probably worth the money to the people who did it, though.
100%.
Definitely. I bet it was some of the senior boys. The older high school boys. But,
Probably.
So he tried pushing it open, and I think he, glances at his window, and no. That's not what happened, because there wasn't saran wrap around the window. He's trying to push it open. He looks out. I think there's a window in the door. He sees it's shut by saran wrap. He knows what's going on, because something like this has happened before. Not the car one. There was something else I think that happened with saran wrap. I think people tried to saran wrap around a whole cabin. One of the group's cabins. From what I heard, though, that did not really work out.
I think there's 2 attempts on that, because I remember with me and a couple of my friends did it.
Oh, it happened again after? Okay.
Yeah.
That would take so much more saran wrap, because the group cabins are probably 6 times as large as the leader cabins. The leader cabin is small, I'm telling you. It's probably 20 to 30 feet square. If you think about it. Yeah. It's a small little thing, because you're really just in there to sleep. And so he notices that, someone saran rammed it. Saran ram? Someone saran wrapped it shut. He can't open the door. And at this point, as a lot of the time you might have to do right after you wake up, he really had to go to the bathroom. So, at this point, he wanted to get out of there. I can't remember if he tried to contact anyone on his phone or something. If he did, he probably contacted his wife at the time, were they married yet? They might have been.
No, they weren't.
Yeah,
I don't think they were.
I think she
I
was
think they
there
were
though. They were.
engaged.
Yeah, they were engaged at the time. If he tried to contact her, then it did not work out, and he was a little bit. He wanted to get out just a little bit because he had to go to the bathroom, and so there was one window in the cabin. Thing about this window. All right, envision a bunk bed. So there's just a normal bed below, and then there's the 4 pieces of wood holding up the second bed. Look, imagine the bottom part of the bed, the top bed, where, if it's like kind of a shorter bunk bed, you sit up, and if you're in the lower bed, you smack your head. It was like that. These bunk beds kind of short. So the window, whoever designed this cabin, I don't know if... I mean, they probably didn't plan on someone having to crawl out of the window because the cabin got saran wrapped in. But...
True.
The window was like half covered by the top bed of the bunk bed. And so it left maybe half of... I'm probably a bit off, but like half a foot of space in between the bottom of the window and where the bottom of the top bed was. And he had to get through there. And I don't know what possessed him to do it, but what he decided to do was go out feet first. Oh gosh. Braden's a smart dude. He might have been panicked in the moment, or maybe that's the best way. I'm not sure, but I would have probably opted for head first. I do know, though, that there was kind of a bush there on the other side of the window. I don't know how tall it was, so maybe it was smarter to go feet first to get the bush out of the way. But yeah, that's another obstacle. And so basically, he's pushing himself kind of out of the window by pushing his hands like against the lower bed mattress and like trying to get out, being real Indiana Jones on us. And and like about halfway through, when about like his legs were out the window but not much of his torso, he got a bit stuck. I think he kind of panicked for a sec, and then I don't know the full details of what happened after that, but like it he either got someone's attention or he like figured out a better way to worm out, but he like weaseled out of there. And then first thing he did was go to the bathroom. You know how it is when you have to go to the bathroom in the morning sometime. So he went over there, and that's all I know of that story. I'm sure he's going to correct me on it. Tomorrow I'm going to tell him that we did record this, and it will be out Monday. Hi, if you're listening the day it came out. Holy cow, thank you. Good job. You did a good. But yeah, I'm going to tell him about it, so he'll probably listen. If I got things wrong, which I did, tell me. But, that's basically a context for some of the shenanigans that have happened on prank night. Prank night, kind of funny.
There was one that also had to do with saran wrap and bathroom that I heard about.
Oh!
Someone saran wrapped one of the boys' toilets.
Oh, yeah.
Middle of the night, one of the campers got up and used it. And then it sat there, I think, till morning, because
oh gosh,
who are you gonna go call in the middle of the night?
Did they pee or did they poop?
They pooped.
Okay, if you guys didn't catch up on it, our beloved listeners, saran wrap was put under the bottom toilet lid so that it wouldn't go down. They're basically outhouses. Again, not like a real fancy camp. Our running water is like 4 sinks outside, and they come from the lake, which has tons of iron in it, so you can't even drink that. You have to get fresh water from the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Or water bottles. That works too. That's what a lot of people had. I had a water bottle. I think I forgot a water bottle and anti-itch lotion the first year, and I very much regretted that. Bug spray does not work on me, man. I don't know what the heck is the deal. It never has.
I don't know, for some reason, almost all the campers there, or a lot of them, bug spray never worked.
Yeah.
Or if it does, it'll barely work. I don't know if the bugs up there are just like, I don't care.
We're just too sweet. That's it, guys. We're too sweet. The mosquitoes love us. But yeah, from that point on, I always brought a bottle of the anti-itch lotion, and then after I got bit up, I just put just a ton of it on before I went to bed, so it wasn't bothering me. That worked well. But yeah, there were some shenanigans. A lot of them had to do with saran wrap. Now that I realize it, but there were some shenanigans, prank nights. Some of them weren't so smart though. We highlight a lot of the good ones. Some of them were just like a group of 5 running up to a cabin and just banging on the walls after it lights out. That's okay. I mean, I guess.
I mean, it's better in the middle of the night, and then you freak the whole cabin out.
Yes, if they're right. Actually, now that I think about it, a lot of them, because they're like freaking weirdos, they would always like just stay on their phones until way late. It's like, you gotta get up for camp in the morning. Sure. Also, why the heck are you on your phone? What? Why? Fools.
Yeah, like, how do you have signal out here?
Kids play on their phones at camp. Real men read books.
The book.
Realer men read the book. The holy book. And that ain't a theory. A book theory. Gosh.
Oh, you know what you just reminded me of?
What?
So, I think it was my second year there, and there's this camper who brought his DS, because DSs are cool.
They are.
And then, probably from like 11:30 to like 1, every like couple minutes he'd like, anyone have a hotspot? Anyone have a hotspot?
I know about him. DS. And we're not gonna say his name, but every time someone like asks for a hotspot, or people even think they might ask for a hotspot, they just say that person is pulling a blank. That person, the hotspot kid's name, or just call them that kid's name.
Yeah,
that's another camp legend. Not so much of a cool one.
No,
legend more as in it stuck with people than it was a good thing that happened. But yeah, back to our story.
Let's go.
All right, so pretty much the most died overnight. So I think we were planning on releasing it that morning on the second day, but it's dead. So now we have unlimited opportunity. And so a bunch of the cabin I was in, a bunch of those kids kind of like teamed up with the overflow cabin kids to pull a prank with poor little Swampy, who even after death was about to get just absolutely used, taken advantage of. But oh my gosh, these kids could not stay quiet. Let's get into this. It was bad. So basically, a little bit after lights out, some other things happened that night, like people running up to other cabins. Our cabin had to pretend they were asleep. Something happened between the girls and the older boys' cabin
Mm-hmm.
because we heard them running by, and then stuff happened over there. I think, like it was a stink bomb or something.
I believe so, or I
Or
think
like,
someone threw like poppers and stuff under their cabin.
oh, that could have been it
And like
too.
mists and yeah, all that stuff under their
Something.
cabin.
It was like mist and stuff. Yeah, and I think there was
Mm-hmm.
something to do with Axe body spray.
Oh
That's
yes, they threw a bomb in,
oh yeah, that was the bomb. They like taped down the top of an Axe body spray can and chucked
which is
it
the
in.
best prank
Oh
to
my
do to
gosh.
anyone.
Yes, it's the best camp prank because you're totally free to bring some of that. For some reason, it should be illegal to even be in
I mean,
possession of that object.
I guess it's technically so you smell good, but
That's the theory. But also, we're
that's
talking about Axe body spray.
yeah. If you use too much, oh,
Yeah. So that's besides the point. All that ruckus happened, and then I think they tried to retaliate at the girls or something. So we had to just lie there for like 20 to 30 minutes. You guys hadn't
yeah.
the
I had to
the
stay
overflow
in the
cabin. Yes, the overflow cabin came like right before the lights out. And with the mouse because we were planning this. And a lot of these pranks, listeners, this whole cabin of church kids isn't filled with like absolute degenerates. That's kind of what it's sounding like. These were regulated. It's just on prank night. Again, they stopped prank night, which is honestly sad. But it's just on prank night, and usually the counselor of that cabin is in on it
Uh-huh.
and will help or at least give the okay. Like this, yeah, it's not that bad. I don't think the Pastor Braden getting saran wrapped in his cabin was a counselor okayed one. But this one actually was.
As a counselor did it.
Oh. But that's just a theory, a camp theory. Ah, no, I referenced him twice in one podcast. This is an issue. Alright, so basically all of these, like, children in the cabin, we were one of the oldest ones in there because it was the younger kids' cabin, and there were also some middle schoolers in there. They could not shut up. And then the worst thing, some of them like whispering back and forth, the worst thing, some kids who thought they for some reason had power, they were like shushing these kids the whole time. But then the thing is, other kids shushed them, and at one point it became a shush, like the pettiest shushing war ever.
Oh.
Oh my god. It was worth it in the end for what happened next, though. At least a little bit. So basically, after like all of the ruckus outside had died down a little, everything was a bit settled down. We didn't hear anything. We waited a bit, 5 to 10 minutes, and like peeking out the window from time to time because we were trying to make it seem like we were asleep. One, so we wouldn't be targeted by anyone passing by if they saw someone who was awake in there, but also so that no one could think something was up if they were just going back to their cabin from their prank. So, alright, first before I say what we did with this mouse, was it the middle school girls' cabin or high school girls' cabin?
This one was the middle school.
Okay, yeah, we did it to the younger ones. I think it was because we were in the younger cabin.
Yeah.
We did not want to target those scary high schoolers. At least that's how they seem to the middle schoolers who were in this cabin.
For most of them, yeah. I was friends with a couple of them, and I was like, yeah, they're not scary. But you know.
Girls are scary, man. Girls are freaky. Alright. So, pretty much what happened was we all went. The counselor heading it up, Surfer Jesus / Aquaman. He goes, alright, who wants in on this? Who's all coming with? You have to be able to stay quiet. I think probably all but like 5 kids were like, I want to come with.
Yep.
Why did they let them?
I don't know.
Oh
It should have
gosh.
just been
They had to let them
a
in on it, I
field
guess.
bus. I guess that's
Uh,
fair.
but so pretty much the Surfer Jesus goes, okay. Because they just could not shut up. He says, he gets them to quiet down for a second. He goes, okay, moment you step this boundary outside of this cabin, no more noise. It's usually
Did
a
it
nice
work?
dude, but geez. Honestly, kind of. A little bit.
Until we got close.
Yeah. So pretty much what happened was our ragtag group of all of us weird children get out of the cabin, and Surfer Jesus is going ahead of us. We're all sneaking out with two little materials, two little things that were needed for this prank. One, Swampy, the dead mouse. Two,
May he rest in peace.
may he rest in peace. Two, a piece of string. You may know what's happening next. So, between like the boys' cabin area and where the girls' cabins are, there's the mess hall. It's really not the mess hall is honestly small, not that far away from each other, and so we didn't have that long of a trek to go. But basically, we all kind of got to the mess hall, one side of the mess hall. Girls' cabins are on the other side of it, probably 10 to 20. I don't know exactly.
I'd say probably like 15, 14 feet.
Oh
It's
no,
really not that
the
far.
cabins are longer than that. I was gonna say like between 10 and 20 yards, probably closer to 10. I don't know exactly,
Yeah.
but that's about it. And so once we got to the end of the mess hall, I know I snuck around the back of the mess hall. I think I'm the only person who did that because it was more shadowed back there. But everyone else, it was honestly, if one person looked out the window, it was so obvious that they were all there. It's honestly laughable at this point. But
Did it?
yeah, once they got to the end of the mess hall, they started to get louder again. They were immediately shushed, and rightly, by Aquaman. Uh and he's like, "All right, you guys stay here. I'm gonna go do this." I think he went up with like one more kid to help. So what they
I
did they?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think yep. He
Yep,
went with another
one of
guy.
the older ones. Um,
Yes.
and they went up on the porch. They like crouched and they did this really quick. Went up on the like tiny stoop porch and tied the mouse on like a like above the porch, like on a light or like a beam or something.
I think it was a beam,
Probably.
like right outside the door.
Yup. And so it was hanging right outside the door. First person to open that door, Swampy surprise. So they rushed back, hustled all those loud children
Oh,
back to the cabin as quick as possible. Uh, and that was just about that for that night. They kept talking about it, and you guys went back to the overflow cabin, but all of the kids in there kept just talking about it, and
oh,
it got old. I eventually somehow got to sleep. Now, here comes the sad part of the tale, my friends. The next morning, I found out that our prank didn't really have much hold. The first person who went out of the cabin the next morning was not a middle school girl who would scream her
mm,
freaking soul away because there was a Swampy in her face. It was one of the counselors, I believe. So she saw that,
yep.
took down Swampy, and then I don't know where she put it, but Swampy was not done quite yet. This was the final day of camp. We would leave around noon. But first, Gosh, Brad, word of Swampy had traveled around the camp, and the counselors honestly were so cool about it. It's such a chill camp. Pretty much what happened after that was, even though the prank didn't really work, everyone loved Swampy. What we did was we went ahead, got a little cardboard box, made a little nest for him inside. Before this was like a few hours before we would have to leave, and put some dried grass in the bottom.
Twigs.
Yeah, some twigs, some dry newspapers, some dry birch bark because kindling. And that in this tiny cardboard box, laid Swampy nice in it. We went on the dock. Well, honestly, probably like half the camp watched from the shore.
I was on the dock.
I think I was on
It
the.
was
I was on the dock too. I was pretty close when they put him in,
Yeah.
and then put the cardboard box in the water. It was just perfect. Floated on the top, and we did a nice little version of our own budget Viking funeral.
Unfortunately, no one could shoot a good bow and arrow, so.
Yeah, well, no, I could. I bet quite a few of them, few kids there could.
Yeah.
But a few things hindered that. I don't think we wanted to use an arrow on that. No, it would not be a waste for Swampy. But also, I don't think anyone had a bow. And if that little cardboard, if that like very small cardboard box was shot with an arrow, I think it probably would just like drill it straight down to the bottom of the lake. And then there would just be an arrow in the bottom of the lake. Not a good thing. This lake is not that big. But they took a lighter, lit a piece of, I think like dried birch bark, very flammable kindling, put it in the cardboard box someone else was holding, and that person nudged it out in the lake. Drifted through the lake, around the bend a little, where it connected up to an outlet. And that was the last we ever saw of Swampy. Just have a moment of silence for our lost friend. Honestly, hilarious story. And I love it every time. There's so many parts to it.
So many.
It's so great. Swampy, we call him Swampy the Swamp Rat. He was a mouse, I think. He's just Swampy the Mouse, but Swampy the Swamp Rat sounds better. Also, the repetitiveness is funny too. But yeah, that's our story for today. So, if you liked our pilot, and you haven't already, what the heck? Go ahead and, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Kudos to listen to a podcast on YouTube. If you're listening through Spotify, go ahead and follow. I think I'll have more information about this during the next recording, once I actually upload stuff. But we're gonna be on a few other places, I think, too. But I must say, Spotify and YouTube are our two main ones. So if you can subscribe and follow there, it would mean the world. Get this podcast off to a great start. And also, description, we've got the Discord. Go ahead and join that if you'd like. We have my locations. You don't have anything to shout out, Cam?
No.
Nah.
Unless I create a Twitch channel, which I'm not.
Fair enough. I haven't done it yet, but I'll probably also make a Twitter account for We Three Kings just to announce stuff coming out. I might do that, honestly, tomorrow. But, and so if I make that by then, I'll also link that in the description. Everything is also on the Discord server. Links for everything is on the Discord server, so you can go check that out too. Discord server's got everything, and you can become a part of the community. And we might bring in a viewer interactive segment to the podcast. That'll be fun. People send in their stories or something. I don't know.
Questions, whatever.
And yeah, any questions or any like suggestions about the podcast, I'm very open to on Discord. This was the pilot. It's not going to be perfect, but we only hope to get better with time.
Yeah.
So yeah, this released what December 6th? Yeah, this will have released December 6th. We will release these on Mondays at noon. And maybe not noon. I'm planning noon. YouTube definitely noon. I'm pretty sure I can set it to send out this certain time with the Spotify stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, Mondays at noon. We'll have a new podcast every week, and tune in next week because we're gonna have a guest. That's gonna be fun.
Ooh, can't
So
wait.
that's all I've got to say. You got anything else?
Nothing. You said it all.
All right. Well, there we go. Thank you all for hanging out. This has been We Three Kings. So much fun. And tune into the next one. Goodbye.
See ya.